You are listening to How to Get Over Your Ex, episode number 289, The Fear You'll Never Fall in Love Again. Welcome to How to Get Over Your Ex, a podcast on getting over your ex without it just taking time. I'm your host, breakup coach Dorothy. Let's turn your pain into power and your heartbreak into happy. Hello, beautiful brave hearts. How are you doing today? We are going to be diving deep into something that I know is keeping many of you up at night after your breakup. That pit in your stomach fear that you'll never fall in love again, right? That terrifying thought that maybe, just maybe, your ex was the one, right? Was your one shot at happiness and now it's gone forever. And I want you to think, I have a hard time not giggling when I say that stuff out loud. I apologize. It's just I've coached so many, I know it feels real, but I've coached so many of you on this that it gets to the point where it's like, girl, I got you. Let's talk about it because we've all been there. So first off is I want you to think about how that fear feels in your body right now, right? That tightness in your chest, the weight on your shoulders, the knot in your throat when you imagine a future where love just never happens again. That's terrifying. But what's fascinating is that most breakup experts will tell you one of three things, right? You just need to get back out there. There are plenty of fish in the sea, or my personal favorite, right? You'll find the right one with time. You'll find the right one for you with time. Obviously, my friends, I disagree. Because here's the truth bomb, right? Time has nothing to do with overcoming the emotion of fear. Time has nothing to do with overcoming this fear. Absolutely nothing. I want you to think about it. Some people jump back into amazing, healthy relationships that last a lifetime within months of a devastating breakup, while others are still alone, terrified 5 years later. If time healed this fear, we'd all be on the same timeline, but we're not. So what's really going on here? It's going to be a kicker. It's your thoughts. It always comes back to the way that you're thinking, the thoughts, the stories, the sentences in your brain. When I ask someone why they're afraid they'll never love again, they usually tell me things like, my ex was my soulmate. I'll never find that connection with anybody else. Dating is terrible and everyone good is already taken. Or I'm too old, damaged, complicated now, whatever version of that is for you. Now, I want you to notice how you feel, right? When you believe those thoughts are true. You feel hopeless, fearful, defeated, panicked, all of those emotions. And when you feel that way, what do? How do you show up in this world? You probably avoid dating altogether, or maybe you go on dates but then sabotage them and compare them to your ex. You might withdraw from social situations where you could actually meet someone new. You show up guarded, skeptical, or closed off. Or one of my favorites that you guys come to me with is saying, I've done everything. I try to change my thoughts and I try to show up differently and I try to change my energy. Trying and being are two very different things. But when we're showing up that way, it's the exact opposite of what creates new love in your life. The quality of your thoughts, the quality of thoughts that you have about future relationships determines the quality of experiences you'll have in your love life right now, in the present moment. Your thoughts create your reality. Whoa, right? I know, pivoting, riveting is what I mean. But my friends, there are people out there loving their romantic lives, loving their experience with dating, loving their singlehood, still feeling, all the love in the world. I'm obsessed. I have clients like that. I was that way. I love. And those individuals are attractive as fuck. Like, oh my gosh, you want what they're having. You're like, how is your life so good to be true? Like, it feels too good to be true, but like, you're delicious in it. You're reveling in it. You're magnetic. It's turned on. We're all turned on watching. You know what I'm talking about, right? But then there are those individuals who are hating dating, like sludging their way through singlehood, hating their romantic lives. Woe is me. And why? What is the difference between these two different human beings? It is not their circumstances. It's not the number of dates that they've gone on. It's the way that they're thinking about these experiences. It is the mindset. It is neurological. Always, always, always. And here is the kicker. These thoughts, the sentences in your brain, for the ones who are loving it, for the ones who are not, and for you, are 100% optional. I'm going to be so harsh with you here. They are 100% optional, no matter what your circumstance is. And I want to share a story to paint the picture, okay? So this is just one client, but I've had hundreds of these individuals. This is my client Maria. I've had 100 Marias, different names. So she was convinced she'd never find love again after her 6-year relationship ended, and she was in her late 30s and believed all the good ones were taken. Now I'm also thinking of one of my 70-year-old clients who was thinking the same thing, and she's now engaged, about to get married. So age doesn't matter, because I know you're going to throw that at me. This individual specifically was in her late 30s. She felt like all the good ones were taken. They're already married. And I know a lot of you are thinking that. So she had this thought on repeat that she missed her chance at love. She missed it, like it was gone. Made her very fearful. It was scary to think, right? She was scared to, believe that. And one day we sat down and we actually questioned this idea. Was it actually true that she had missed her chance? How do we know? Who determines this? Or was it just a sentence she had been choosing without even realizing that it was a choice? That happens too. So when she started to identify as someone who was open to creating love again, rather than someone desperately searching for it or someone convinced it won't happen to them, everything really pivoted for her. Everything really shifted. She stopped making her happiness contingent on finding a partner and started focusing on creating a life that she loved regardless of who was in her life. Womp womp. I know your brain is like, ugh, really? We have to do that work? And I'm like, yes, sister, really. Again, the most attractive people in life are the ones who are loving their reality no matter what it is. Single or not single, they find a way to make it something they fucking love, and they find it delicious as fuck. Okay? They do that. That's an optional thing. When you get into that energy, it is a vibe. People want it. You will attract people you want to surround yourself with it when you're in it. And guess what happened when Maria was in that, right? Within months, she met someone who blew her ex out of the water. She loved her experience with love in a completely different way, not because she was looking, but because she had changed how she thought about love and her worthiness to receive it, and stopped fighting, right? She stopped being in fight or flight and stopped being in fear. She wasn't in a state of fear, oh my gosh, I'm never going to find it, I'll never fall in love again. She was in a completely different energetic realm. And that all started with questioning those thoughts that were creating the fear in the first place and choosing different ones intentionally to create a different vibe. Okay? The second way I see this fear of never falling in love keeping people stuck is also through identity. Because many of you have started to identify as the person who had their heart broken and is afraid to love again. You wear it like a badge, like a protective shield. And listen, my friends, I get it. I have been there. I used to introduce myself to strangers like that. Like I cringe thinking about it. But what if you identified as the person who had their heart broken, but is brave enough to love again anyways, okay? What if you identified as someone who trusts themselves enough in this deep way to know that they're going to be okay no matter what happens, okay? They're going to fall in love again no matter what happens. And when you identify as that person, it's going to be easier to align your actions to your words. Your brain doesn't want to be saying one thing and then doing something completely opposite. So as you start identifying as that person, you start showing up that way. That's how we start creating that vibe of like, oh my gosh, your life looks and feels delicious and amazing. You have to be in that. You have to feel that. You have to actually believe that. You have to be in that energy for it to be transparent on the outside. Okay. For me, after my rock bottom breakup, I identified as someone who wasn't just going to like survive. Remember, I was committed and determined to going up, to creating the bigger and better. I was going to thrive because of the breakup, not in spite of it. I made it my mission to create a life that was bigger and better than the one that I lost. And I do this every single day. It is a direction, not a destination. Anything that happens, small or big, I'm like, we're headed in bigger and better. What's bigger and better about this? Because listen, I love love so much. And I know you love love too. When you let yourself love love. But pay attention. This is important. If you've lost yourself, listen, I want to bring your attention back. This is an important statement. Keeping yourself hidden or protected from love now isn't keeping you from pain later. It's just keeping you in pain now. What? Keeping yourself hidden or protected from love now isn't going to keep you from pain later. It's just keeping you in pain now. That's why your fear feels necessary. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Action steps, next steps. You all know me. There are 2 things I want you to do about this today, about your fear today. I want you to first really examine what you're afraid of. What am I afraid of when it comes to I'll never fall in love again? Say it out loud. You'll probably laugh. My clients do. It happened last week. My girl Emily, if you're listening, she was like, I'm never going to fall in love again. And I was like, okay, why? Okay, why? She was like, my weight, my age, it took me 5 years to find this guy. It's all bullshit. We were sitting there laughing by the end of this. Okay, write it down, question it all. Okay, it's not truth. There's data and there's drama. You've got drama about your data. Fix your data, make your data look like the way that you want it to, and calm down your drama, okay? 2, the second thing that I want you to do is each day I want you to wake up and I want you to ask yourself, what would the version of me who's not afraid to love again do today? What would she do? Ask yourself that about big things, little things. Ask yourself that when you're deciding whether to go to a party where you might meet someone new. Ask yourself that when you're tempted to send that late night text to your ex. The fear you'll never fall in love again isn't actually about your ex or the future. It's about your thoughts in this present moment. And thoughts can change in an instant when you decide that they no longer serve you. Let me say that again. Thoughts can change in a moment when you decide they no longer serve you. So you don't have to wait for time to heal this fear, because it won't. Your thoughts will, right? Feelings are created by thoughts. So no matter how much time passes, you won't feel different if you don't change your thinking. You can decide right now that you're going to think differently about love, about yourself, and what's possible for you, okay? Your love life can be even better than what you had with your ex, I promise. And I can and will show you how. All right. I love you, my brave hearts. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time.
If you're loving the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast and you want to learn how to get over your ex in 3 months or less to build a life better than the one you thought you had with your ex, I would like to personally invite you to my next group course where we take everything you've learned here on the podcast and apply it to your life. Come check it out at www.lifecoachdorothy.com.